Welcome back. All right, we're a little over a month away from the draft. We know the draft order from 1 through 28, and so I figure now is a good time to start things out. Now, I did do a video on Macklin Celebrini, but that was back in January. So it feels like we're going to go ahead and take another look at Macklin Celebrini. I'm wearing a Sharks jersey because if they don't draft Celebrini, Sharks fans won't be happy. I don't know if the Sharks would be happy. I think they'd stand there and go, wait a minute, weren't we supposed to draft Celebrini? Crap, got this wrong. Can we start over? Dang it. All right, so Celebrini has everything. From the reports I was reading, everything that you want. So he's 130 centimeters tall. He's just this little guy. 183 centimeters tall, 6 feet tall. So NHL projectable there. 86 kilograms, 190 pounds. Not bad, not bad. He's probably going to need to bulk up just a little bit. But again, he hasn't turned 18 yet. So bizarre, right? And it's bizarre because he's already built up quite the resume as a #1 draft pick, and he hasn't filled out yet. So, 2022-2023, playing in the U.S. Hockey League, playing for the Chicago Steel, 50 games, 46 goals, 40 assists, 86 points. Again, as a teenager. And then at Boston University this year for the NCAA, 38 games, 32 goals, 32 assists, 64 points. That's insane. That's absolutely ridiculous to be able to put up those kinds of points at that age in the NCAA. At the World Juniors, playing for Canada, 5 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Canada didn't win gold, but Celebrini did. Celebrini was great during that tournament. So the development of Celebrini, his standing in the draft, not hurt by his performance at the World Juniors, and definitely not hurt by what was an amazing first year at Boston University. And then the question becomes, so is his best path, and I've had this question posed to me, so I'll answer it here as well, is his best path to the NHL, another year in the NCAA, or going straight to the NHL? Well, he's #1 on everybody's list, so he's going to have an opportunity here. Elite Prospect, Hockey Prospect, Bob McKenzie, and Sportsnet are the ones that I'm using to kind of measure this. And once you get out of that #1 draft pick, it's really up in the air about who goes 2, 3, 4, and beyond. There's no real consensus on who should go after Celebrini. There's a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas, but in terms of a bona fide #2, not so much. So once we get past this video and talking about the #1 draft pick, we get into the other ones, you won't see that kind of synergy between the numbers. Now, Macklin Celebrini, what he brings, apparently has incredibly fast hands. Very, very good with the puck, and not bad away from the puck either. So if you're looking and thinking, well, as a young player coming in, he's probably going to need to work on the defensive game, which was common, say, 10, 15 years ago. It feels like players are better prepared for the National Hockey League game now defensively. He's a high-end skater. A year ago, his skating was talked about as being something that maybe he's going to be really good, but he's still got to work on it. But the more recent scouting reports are he's fantastic, his skating's excellent, and his transition play is really strong. One thing to keep in mind with today's game is speed is everything. It really feels like a player who's not as fast, immediately that gets called out. Well, he's not as fast coming back. He had that rush, but he's not quite as fast as others, so the defense catches him. It doesn't sound like Celebrini's skating, his transition play, will hold him back at all. If anything, that's one of the strongest points of his game. And he's got a strong effort level in all 3 zones. His hockey IQ, which is how you think the game on the ice and how you anticipate play, looks like that's really, really good as well. So, yeah, not a lot of weaknesses when you're looking at Celebrini. In fact, the only weakness that I could even find, if you qualify this as a weakness, is the idea you'd probably need to be stronger to be productive in the National Hockey League. We've seen players with that criticism of their game when they're drafted who've made it to the NHL without necessarily adding a lot of muscle mass, without adding a lot of strength to their frame. They just go out there, they play their game. And with the NHL the way it is now and the hitting not being what it was, say, 20 years ago, it's easier for a smaller player to succeed in the National Hockey League. And by smaller, I mean the lighter frame. Him being 6 feet tall, his height shouldn't be a problem in the National Hockey League. So, yeah, that's the only thing that I could even say might be close to a weakness. But again, the report I was reading was from roughly 6 months ago. So odds are that's probably been fixed too. Celebrini's kind of a machine out there. Really well-rounded player. Sounds like he's very good at both ends of the ice. You know, reading all this, I'm thinking, so like Barkov, Bergeron, I mean, he's a center, and he plays really well in all three zones. He's a hard worker. He's fast. Thinks the game really well. Like, this is the kind of player that when you're going into a rebuild, you're really hoping that you're able to pull at the draft. So the fact that San Jose wins the draft lottery, absolutely huge for them. Getting the clear-cut number one in this year's draft. Again, there's a lot of discussion about who should go after him, but no discussion over who goes first. He won the Hobey Baker Award. Again, winning the Hobey Baker Award for best player in the NCAA when you're 17, that just to me feels crazy. We've seen players go to the NCAA, and that first year, it's a feeling out process, and they're not playing as much. They'll be good that second, maybe the third year. Yeah, no. At age 17, 32 goals in 38 games, he's basically pushed his way to the top of the list and won a Hobey Baker Award. He turns 18 on June the 13th, so he will turn 18 before the draft. But he turns 18 so soon before the draft, and I do have some questions about whether or not Celebrini would be better off going back to the NCAA or turning pro and going to San Jose. So the question that I have to people is simple. Should Celebrini sign a contract once he gets drafted, go right to San Jose? There's a natural connection between the San Jose organization and the Celebrini family. So really, in all honesty, I could understand if he signs a contract. I also, if he did say, you know what, NCAA, I don't know that I would necessarily blame him one way or the other. But it is going to be really interesting to watch him in the National Hockey League level and see if he hits right away. Because what we've seen with number one draft picks in recent years, Bedard is the exception. Bedard's the one who came in and right away looked like he belonged. Generally, the number one draft picks have not had that sort of experience. Celebrini is still, despite the great season he had in the NCAA, he doesn't have quite the same level of hype that Bedard did. So what would be the best path forward for Celebrini? How should San Jose basically approach this? Or do you draft him, you sign him, and you give him that first line time right out of the gate and see what he can do? Let me know what you think that San Jose should do, because again, for their rebuild to be successful, they've already got, Will Smith they drafted, they've got Eklund in the lineup. Now they're going to be grabbing Celebrini. There's a lot of good pieces there, but for next season, is Celebrini's best option to join the San Jose organization for what's likely to be another long season for the team, or would he be better suited playing back at Boston University? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. And again, I will be doing probably about one of these a day, looking at prospects and trying to go through like the list of where we're most likely going to see guys get drafted. But again, after the number one pick, it's really a crapshoot. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. I will talk to you again soon.